Dear children, in this video, I will begin with History, Chapter Devotional Paths to the Divine. Topics that will be explained in this video are the idea of the Supreme God, a new kind of bhakti in South India, Nayanars and Alvars, philosophy and bhakti, and Nathpanthis, Siddhas and Yogis. People perform rituals of worship or sing bhajans, kirtans or kavalis, or even repeat the name of God in silence. And some of them are moved to tears. Such intense devotion or love of God is the legacy of various kinds of bhakti and Sufi movement that have evolved since the 8th century. The idea of a supreme God. Before the existence of large kingdoms, different groups of people worshipped their own god and goddesses. With the growth of towns, trade, and empires, people were brought together and new ideas began to develop. The belief that all living things pass through many cycles of birth and death depends on their good and bad actions gained ground. The belief that social privileges came from the birth in a noble family or a high caste was the subject of many learned texts. Many people were uncomfortable with such ideas. Some turned to other religions like Buddhism and Jainism. As the idea of bhakti, advocated in the Bhagavad Gita, grew in popularity, Shiva, Vishnu, and Durga emerged as an important deities. Gods and goddesses worshipped in different areas came to be identified with Shiva, Vishnu, or Durga. The idea of bhakti became so popular that even Buddhists and Jainism adopted these beliefs. Next topic is a new kind of bhakti in South India, Nayanars and Alvars. The period between the 7th and the 9th century AD saw the rise of new religious movements in the south. These bhakti movements were led by Nayanars, saints who worshipped Shiva, and Alvars, saints who worshipped Vishnu. These saints belonged to different castes, including those that were considered untouchables. The saints criticized Jainism and Buddhism and emphasized the worship of Shiva and Vishnu. They traveled from place to place, visiting shrines dedicated to their deities and composing poems in praise of their deities. Between the 10th and the 12th century AD, temple worship became important again after kings such as Cholas and Pandyas built beautiful temples at the shrines visited by the saints of the Bhakti movement. People also began collecting and compiling the poems composed by the Nayanars and Alvar saints. Many religious biographies or hagiographies of the saints were written. These give us important insights into the Bhakti tradition. Next topic is Nathpanthis, Siddhas and Yogis. Around the same time, there emerged a number of religious groups which were highly critical of traditional religions. They laid the ground for the spread of Bhakti movement in North India. Important among these groups were Nathpanthis, Yogis and Siddhacharyas. They criticized conventional religious and social beliefs based on rituals and caste. This made them highly popular amongst low castes. The Nathpanthis, Yogis and Siddhacharyas believed intense training of the mind and body through yoga, breathing techniques and meditation was the path to salvation. According to these groups, God was formless, Nirgun, and one had to renounce the word in order to unite with Him.